My name is Bob Jones IV. I'm the grandson of legendary golfer Bobby Jones, the only man to win golf's Grand Slam, all 4 national championships in the same year. He also suffered from syringomyelia. Syringomyelia is a genetic condition, but it also can be acquired through a traumatic injury, as it was in my grandfather's case. He woke up one morning with a crick in his neck, which he ascribed to sleeping with the windows open. Later, in the next couple of years, he started developing other signs like tingling in his fingertips and tingling in his toes. But again, it wasn't anything that really caught his eye. When he was finally diagnosed in 1946, it was determined to be syringomyelia and probably traumatically induced. My grandfather was born on St. Patrick's Day, 1902, in Atlanta, Georgia. My grandfather picked up golf almost accidentally, banging balls up and down a 40-yard course in the front of his house. Later, a remarkable thing happened at Eastlake. The Atlanta Athletic Club, which was the actual parent club of Eastlake, hired a new golf professional named Stuart Maiden. My grandfather started simply by following Stuart around the golf course and mimicking his swing. He began playing competitively as a very young boy, probably no more than 6 or 7 years old, maybe 8. Mrs. Frank Metter, who ran a boarding house right by Eastlake, had a little informal 6-hole match on the Eastlake course, which consisted of my grandfather, Perry Adair, Frank Metter, and Alexa Sterling. At the end of the tournament, Mrs. Metter awarded my grandfather the trophy for the lowest score. To his dying day, however, he always said that he believed that Alexa Sterling actually won the cup, but that Mrs. Metter wouldn't give it to her because she was a woman. More interestingly, my grandfather never gave the cup to Alexa, even though he felt she should have it. And then, in 1916, when he was 14 years old, by this time he had been the club champ of the athletic club, Eastlake. He had also been the club champion of the Druid Hills Golf Club. And then in 1916, several folks thought that it might be a good thing for my grandfather to go with his friend Perry Adair to Pennsylvania to the National Amateur Championship. And he basically electrified the field by leading the entire field in qualifying after the first round. In 1923, he won the U.S. Open in Inwood, and then went on between 1923 and 1930 to win 13 national championships, including 5 United States Amateurs, 4 United States Opens. My grandfather never did turn professional. He remained an amateur throughout his entire playing career because, as he said, he never wanted golf to be more than a game. Starting in about 1944, 1945, he started noticing some pretty major changes. He noticed, for example, that when hot water would be running in the sink, that he would scald his hands and not feel it. He noticed that one of his feet would start turning under a little bit, and he would start tripping and stumbling and not really know the reason why. So he went to see his doctor, and they could not figure out what was even possibly wrong with him. Years after my grandfather was diagnosed with syringomyelia, he didn't let the condition keep him down, and insofar as possible he maintained his interest in golf and in all the other activities that were a part of his life. And what he lived with from that time in 1945 until his death in 1971 was a constant headache. He said, this is a bad situation, and it isn't going to get any better. But he said, you know, in golf, we play the ball where it lies, and we don't complain. And now we'll never speak of this again.